Model of super fund growth. We're going to make an Excel spreadsheet that's going to model our superannuation growth and also how much that money is actually going to purchase in the year that we would access it. Okay, so it looks like this, and it has years, it has a balance that's increasing, and then has a purchasing power column which turns each year's balance into, using the inflation percentage, what it would actually buy in that year. Okay, so let's make a Excel spreadsheet. Start a new sheet. Okay, and we come down, give us a bit of room at the top, come down a couple. Okay, we're going to go year, balance, purchasing power. Okay, and we'll make that one a little bit wider and that one a little bit wider as well. Okay, it's worth noting that when we're putting numbers into columns, Excel doesn't like us putting dollar signs in, so we might put up the top here that column is going to be dollars as well as this one. Okay, so remembering our tip with Excel, we can go 1, 2, 3 years and then highlight and grab the little green box down the bottom, and we're going to go out to 35 years. 35. Okay, and it does it for us. Over here, in this column, we're going to put a formula. Okay, so we're actually going to need to set up our variables over on this part. Okay, so our first one is how much the superannuation grows per annum. Okay, so when you invest money, you get interest. That's what growth is. Okay, let's make that a 0.07. It might be different with your super fund that you go with. Okay, we're just going to do 7%. Then next one, and we'll actually, because that's a number that we can change, let's make that yellow. Come down a couple. We're actually also going to put in the inflation percentage per annum. Okay, which is also going to be yellow, and we're going to make it 0.035, so 3.5% per annum. Okay, we'll chuck in what our contribution per annum is. Okay, and that's how much we're going to contribute in dollars. Okay, so let's make that 4.5 grand. It might be different. And then the last couple is retirement age. This is just for whoever's reading. Okay, we're going to make that 65, and then our starting age, let's make that 25. Oh, hang on, that should go down there. Okay. Alright, now that's a difference of 40 years, so we should actually go down here and make this 40. Okay, so now that we've got that in, let's start off with the first column with our balance. Okay, now the assignment says that you will have $10,000 as a starting balance, and then at the end of the first year you're going to have your contribution from the first year, so it's going to be plus that. Okay, so remembering when we want to add in a formula into Excel, we press the equals button. We can then tell it, we're doing maths, 10,000 plus, and then we're going to take the amount that's in this column. Okay, and we press enter, and so that's got our first one up. Okay, let's make that yellow. So the next one is we're going to work out what is the interest, the growth on this amount, and then add on our contribution. Okay, so we start with equals, and we have our principal. Okay, so our starting amount. Okay, times, and remember it's 1 plus the growth percentage. Okay. And then we're also going to add on our contribution. Okay, so that formula there is take this number, multiply it by how much it grows, okay, and then add on the contribution. Now, we want to fix this cell and this cell so that they don't slide down when we fill it. Okay, so $sign before the E and a $sign before the 6 will tell it don't move from that cell. $sign before this one and a $sign before this one will tell it don't move. Okay, so the only one we want to slide down with the formula is the first one. Enter. And there we go. It's telling us that after 1 year, the balance is now $20,015. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab this green corner and we're going to drag it all the way down to the end of 40 years. And there we go. Okay. Now see how there's like 3 decimal places here? Let's go into 4 decimal places. Let's go and fix that up. We're going to go right click on column B, go to format cells, and tell it we're going to use numbers and it's rounding to 2. There we go. Okay, nice. So at the end of 40 years, there's our balance. $1.38306 million. Okay. Then we're going to now work out actually how much is that money going to actually buy us. So we're going to take into account inflation. So the way we work out in this purchasing power is we take this amount and multiply it by the inflation, but backwards to the starting date. Okay, I'll show you. So press equals. Okay, we're doing the principal. Okay. The first one, because it's the first year, is just going to be the same amount, so you can just have that one now. We're actually in the second column that the inflation starts. So equals, and then we're going to take this number and we're going to multiply it by 1 plus the inflation percentage, okay, to the power of negative, so take away, and then the year before. Okay, so we click on the year before. So this first one is going to be, take this amount, times it by inflation to the power of, so bringing it back to year 1. Okay, now, like before, we want to fix this cell over here. So the E10, we want to $sign it. Okay, press enter. Okay, and then that's telling us that this $20,000 here is actually only worth $19,300 in the second year. It'll only buy, its only purchasing power is $19,300. So then we can just drag down to the end of 40 years. So it's showing us that $1.038 million that we've extrapolated out to is actually going to only purchase us in 40 years' time $271,000 worth of stuff. Okay, so it's giving us an idea of what it would buy now. So now that we've got this, let's make that to 2 decimal places. Okay, so there's our purchasing power, and we can then make a nice graph out of this. So highlight across down the whole table. Okay, we're going to go insert and scatter, and then the one with the lines. Okay, and we get a nice chart that looks like that. Okay, we'll make it a little bit bigger, and we want to do all of our nice chart things. We want to give it a title. Okay, so superannuation balance versus purchasing power. It gives us a nice description. I can go away. We're going to press the plus, go to access titles, and tell it that this is going to be balance in dollars. Right. On that side, and then on this side is going to be years. And there we go. Let's give it a highlight. We'll highlight across the top, and we'll merge those cells together. Okay, and we'll bold it. and we'll give it a nice title. Okay, maybe make it a little bigger. And there we go. Now we can see that the balance goes up and up and up. Okay, but in 40 years' time, the dollar as it is currently is not going to buy as much, so we've attributed it to, we've brought it back down in line with inflation, and so it's actually going to show us how much it's going to buy. Okay, and I can go ahead and change these numbers, say inflation is just 0.03. We can see that it's not going to have as big an effect on how much it purchases. Okay, say our growth 0.6, it's a bit conservative. We can see, oh, not 0.6, 0.06. Okay, we can see that it's made it a bit more shallow. Say we up our contributions to $5,000 per annum, you can see that our balance increases. Okay, so that's our model of superannuation growth.